I need a job to save my only son. The millionaire froze. Black nurse was the spitting image of the woman he. The moment she stepped into his hospital lobby, 20 years of carefully constructed power crumbled. The nurse's desperate plea for employment wasn't just familiar. It was the ghost of the betrayal he'd thought money had buried forever. Have you ever encountered someone who instantly transported you back to a moment of regret? Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Warm welcome to the family. Enjoy the story. The moment she stepped into his hospital lobby, 20 years of carefully constructed power crumbled. The nurse's desperate plea for employment wasn't just familiar. It was the ghost of a betrayal he'd thought money had buried forever. Victor Hale froze mid-signature, pen hovering above blueprints for the hospital's new East Wing. The voice cut through the pristine quiet of Houston Memorial's marble entrance hall. A woman's voice, determined yet fraying at the edges with desperation. Please reconsider. I have references, experience. Her words faded as Victor turned. The pen slipped from his fingers. Time collapsed. 20 years vanished in a heartbeat. She stood at the reception desk. Her nurse's uniform faded from too many washes, clutching a job application with white-knuckled hands. I need this position. My son's treatment. Victor couldn't breathe, couldn't move, couldn't process the impossible vision before him. Same high cheekbones, same proud tilt of chin, same eyes that had once looked at him with such love, then such devastation. But it couldn't be her. Celeste would be older now. This woman was younger, early 30s perhaps. Yet the resemblance hammered at him, each heartbeat pounding a question he'd buried decades ago. I'm sorry, the HR manager was saying, voice dipped in practiced sympathy. We filled all available positions. The woman's shoulders fell, but only slightly. A fighter recognizing a setback, not defeat. Then consider me for anything. Janitorial, administrative. My son needs. Your son? Victor heard himself ask, stepping forward before his brain could advise caution. The woman turned, eyes widening slightly at his approach. Recognition flickered, not of him personally, but of what he represented. Power, money, the custom suit and authority that parted crowds in this place that bore his name. My 16-year-old, she said, wariness mixing with the desperation now. He has a rare blood condition. The specialist is here, but our insurance won't cover. She caught herself, standing straighter. I'm not looking for charity, sir. Just opportunity. Up close, the similarities were even more striking. The way she tucked her hair behind her ear. The slight accent that hinted at New Orleans roots. Your name? Victor managed, his voice surprisingly steady for a man whose past had just walked through his lobby doors. Amara Johnson, not more. Not Celeste. His rational mind grasped at this difference like a drowning man at driftwood. You have nursing experience? 8 years. Baton Rouge General, then. You're hired. The HR manager's mouth fell open. Mr. Hale, we don't actually have. Create a position. The steel in his voice left no room for discussion. Ms. Johnson starts immediately. Confusion crossed Amara's face, suspicion quick on its heels. Why would you? As she turned to gather her belongings, the movement triggered a cascade of memory. Celeste at the piano, head tilted at that exact angle, fingers dancing across keys as her voice wrapped around his heart. As she turned to leave, defeated by HR's rejection, Victor heard himself call out. Not her name, but another's, Celeste. The nurse froze, her shoulders tensing before she slowly turned back. My name is Amara, she replied, eyes narrowing. And how exactly do you know my mother? Have you ever encountered someone who instantly transported you back to a moment of regret? A face that made you question every choice that led you to where you stand? Drop a broken heart if you've ever been haunted by your past decisions. 20 years ago, he'd chosen an empire over love. Now that choice was standing before him with her mother's eyes and a son who needed saving. Your mother? Victor kept his voice neutral despite the earthquake reshaping his insides. Celeste Moore was your mother? The busy hospital lobby seemed to empty around them, space and time collapsing to this singular moment. Amara studied him, suspicion hardening her features. Yes, she passed 3 years ago. The news hit like a physical blow. Celeste gone, the vibrant, laughing woman who'd filled every room with music. Gone from the world while he'd been counting profits and cutting ribbons. I'm sorry for your loss. The inadequacy of his words hung between them. And you still haven't answered my question, Mr. Hale. Victor Hale. Recognition dawned in her eyes. The owner. Yes. Amara gathered herself, professional mask sliding back into place. Well, Mr. Hale, while I appreciate the sudden job offer, I don't understand the connection to my mother. Victor gestured toward the bank of elevators. Let's discuss this in my office. His corner office overlooked the Houston skyline, each glittering window representing another success built on the foundation of what he'd sacrificed, who he'd sacrificed. Amara stood with her back straight, purse clutched close, waiting. I knew Celeste in New Orleans. Before all this, his hand indicated the view, the empire. She was talented, extraordinary. She was, Amara agreed cautiously. But that doesn't explain why you'd offer me a job on the spot. Victor leaned against his desk. Your son's condition, what is it? The change of subject made her blink. Congenital hemophagocytic lymphohistiocytosis. It's attacking his immune system, his blood. The specialist here has an experimental treatment, but our insurance will no longer be an issue. Victor picked up his phone, pressing a single button. Patricia, create a position for Nurse Amara Johnson, pediatric wing. Full benefits, effective immediately, and contact billing. Any charges for her son's treatment come to me directly. Amara stepped forward. I don't need charity, Mr. Hale. I need employment, she said, chin lifted with a dignity that pierced him. And my son needs a miracle medicine doesn't often provide without money backing it. That chin tilt, pure Celeste. The way she stood her ground against a man who could buy and sell her world without blinking. Not charity, employment. The benefits package is standard for all staff. A lie, but a necessary one. She wasn't convinced. And what exactly will I be doing to earn this miraculous position? Your job, nursing, with the added task of keeping me updated on your son's progress. Their eyes locked in silent battle. She needed this too badly to walk away. They both knew it. His name is Elijah, she finally said, and he's running out of time. As security escorted her to HR for expedited processing, Victor's phone chimed with a text from his investigator. Confirmed. Celeste Moore died 3 years ago. Son's father listed as unknown. But dates align perfectly with your separation. His hands went cold. The boy fighting for his life could be his own flesh and blood. What would you do if the person who could save your child was someone you instinctively didn't trust? Would you swallow your pride? Tell me your thoughts below. He'd spent 2 decades building hotels people escaped to, never imagining he might have created a son with nowhere left to run. Victor stared at his investigator's message until the screen went dark. The timeline fit perfectly. The summer he'd left Celeste. The summer his first investor had demanded he end things with that jazz club girl to present a more suitable image for wealthy backers. He'd chosen money, position, power, and now a boy named Elijah fought for his life 16 floors below. A boy whose birthday aligned with the consequences of a last passionate night with Celeste before Victor walked away. Pull everything you can find on Elijah Johnson. Victor instructed his investigator over the phone. Medical records, birth certificate, school records, everything. The man on the other end knew better than to question. Yes, sir. How deep? All the way. And handle it personally. No digital trail. Victor ended the call, turning to the wall of windows. Houston spread before him, a kingdom of glass and steel. His kingdom, built on the foundation of that first crucial choice, ambition over love. What would Celeste think of him now? The man who discarded her becoming the potential savior of her son? Their son? The question burned through his veins as he rode the elevator to the pediatric floor. He needed to see the boy, needed to know. The pediatric wing hummed with the mechanical symphony of life support systems, each beep and hiss measuring borrowed time, for children whose resilience made Victor's business battles seem hollow. He followed the nurse's directions, stopping outside room 1542. Through the window, he saw Amara in her new uniform, arranging items on a bedside table. Her movements were practiced, efficient, yet tender. The curve of her neck as she bent over the bed triggered memories he'd locked away years ago. Then she stepped aside, revealing the patient. Victor's heart stopped. The boy was thin, too thin, with skin the color of honey and curls cropped close to his head. But it was his profile that sent electricity through Victor's body. The shape of his jaw, the set of his shoulders despite his illness, like looking at a younger version of himself. Victor backed away from the window, pulse hammering. He needed confirmation, scientific proof, but his body already knew the truth his mind was struggling to accept. This was his son, his blood, the child he never knew existed, a child dying from a condition that might be written in the very DNA Victor had given him. He pushed open the door to the children's ward, prepared to finally see the boy who might be his son, only to find Amara sitting beside a frail teenager's bed, singing the exact melody Celeste had written for Victor decades ago. A private song no one else should have known. The notes hung in the air between them, a ghost of memory made flesh. Amara looked up, surprise followed quickly by wariness as she recognized Victor in the doorway. It was the boy who spoke first, voice reedy but curious. "Mom, who's that? How far would you go to uncover a truth that could heal or destroy? Would you risk exposing old wounds if it meant saving a life? Share your thoughts below." The boy had Victor's eyes, Celeste's smile, and a bloodline that carried both a blessing and a curse. A genetic rarity only a father's DNA could confirm or deny. "This is Mr. Hale," Amara said carefully, rising from her chair. "He owns the hospital." Victor stepped fully into the room, heart thundering against his ribs. Up close, the resemblance was undeniable. Elijah had Victor's eyes, not just the color but the shape. The set of his mouth, even thinned by illness, echoed Victor's own. "Nice place you got," Elijah said with unexpected humor. "TV channels could be better though." The joke, so inappropriate, so brave in the face of his condition, was pure Celeste. "I'll look into that," Victor managed, moving closer to the bed. 16 years old but appearing younger, Elijah's frame seemed too slight for the spirit blazing in eyes that mirrored Victor's own, right down to the unusual amber Flex's mother used to call sunrise in whiskey. "You look familiar," Elijah said, studying Victor's face with unnerving intensity. "Like someone from a dream I can't quite remember." Amara shifted uncomfortably. "Elijah, Mr. Hale is very busy. He's just checking on." The new treatment protocol, Victor finished smoothly. "I understand Dr. Mercer has started you on the experimental therapy?" Elijah's eyes, Victor's eyes, narrowed slightly. "Yeah, fancy cocktail that's supposed to reprogram my mutant cells. Mom had to fight like hell to get me in." "Language," Amara murmured, but there was no heat in it. This was clearly an old, affectionate exchange. "Saw the fight like heck." Elijah grinned, then winced as the movement pulled at the fore in his arm. Victor instinctively moved forward, reaching for the foresight the same moment Amara did. Their fingers brushed, an electric current passing between them that had nothing to do with medicine and everything to do with the ghost that hovered between them. "I've got it," she said quickly, adjusting the line with practiced movements. As she leaned across the bed, Victor noticed the delicate curve of her neck, the same spot he used to kiss on Celeste. The recognition hit him physically, a jolt of inappropriate awareness he immediately tried to suppress. "Mr. Hale was just leaving," Amara said pointedly. "Actually," Victor countered, "I'd like to speak with Dr. Mercer about Elijah's case. The genetic component is particularly interesting." Alarm flashed across Amara's face. Genetic component? Dr. Mercer chose that moment to enter, tablet in hand. "Ms. Johnson, Mr. Hale." He nodded to each. "I have Elijah's latest results." "And?" Amara asked, tension vibrating through her voice. The initial response is promising, but Dr. Mercer hesitated, glancing at Victor. Mr. Hale has authorized full coverage of Elijah's treatment, Amara said, the words clearly difficult for her pride. He can hear this. Dr. Mercer nodded. We're seeing markers that suggest this particular variant is hereditary. It's extremely rare, which makes finding compatible donors difficult. If we could locate blood relatives, particularly paternal. That's not possible, Amara cut in quickly. Elijah's father isn't in the picture. Victor kept his expression neutral despite the churning in his gut. Perhaps we should let Dr. Mercer explain the medical implications before dismissing options. Their eyes met in silent challenge across Elijah's bed. As Victor left the hospital, his phone rang, his board chairman's voice tight with concern. There's a problem, Victor. Someone's asking questions about Celeste Moore in that summer in New Orleans. They're threatening to go public with what really happened unless we pay. Who the hell is stirring up the past? Have you ever recognized yourself in someone unexpected? That moment when genetics speaks louder than words? Tell me about a time you saw your own traits reflected back at you. He'd built his first hotel with blood money, the payoff that had convinced Celeste to disappear from his life, but some secrets refused to stay buried beneath marble lobbies and champagne fountains. What exactly are they threatening to reveal? Victor asked, voice cold as he paced his office. Night had fallen over Houston, the city lights a glittering distraction he ignored. The circumstances around your split with Celeste Moore, his chairman, Richard, replied, and something about payments to make her go away. Victor's jaw tightened. That was 20 years ago. Scandals don't expire, Victor, especially now, with the Royale Hotel's expansion making headlines. Someone's looking to leverage your past. The irony wasn't lost on Victor. For 2 decades, he believed the secret was safe, that his choice to end things with Celeste had been clean, if painful. But there had been nothing clean about it. The New Orleans night crawled with memories as Victor's car slid through the French Quarter. Past the alley where Celeste had first pulled him into a kiss, past the club where her voice had made time stop, past the hotel site where he'd made the deal that ended them. Sebastian Ward had been his first major investor. Old money, Southern aristocracy, and a man with very specific ideas about appropriate connections for business partners. That jazz singer has to go, Sebastian had said over bourbon at the Sazerac bar. My associates won't back a project connected to that type of woman. Victor had protested initially, but when Sebastian laid out the numbers, the choice became mathematical. End things with Celeste, receive $5 million in startup funding. Stay with her, watch his dreams collapse. He chose the money. What Victor hadn't known then, what he only discovered later, was that Sebastian had sent men to encourage Celeste's disappearance with additional cash and threats. By the time Victor learned of it, she was gone. And now someone knew. Someone was using that knowledge as leverage. The blackmail demand felt like karmic justice, but the timing was too precise to be coincidence. Just as Amara and Elijah appeared in his life, Victor ended the call with his chairman and dialed security. I need protection detail on room 1542, pediatric wing, the patient and his mother. Around the clock, starting immediately. Yes, sir. Threat assessment. Unknown, but credible. No one accesses that room without my authorization. He ended the call as his car pulled into the hospital's underground garage. It was nearly midnight, but he needed to see Elijah again. Needed to confirm what he already suspected. The pediatric floor was quiet, night shift nurses moving efficiently between stations. Victor nodded to the security officer already positioned outside 1542, then peered through the window. Amara was asleep in the recliner beside Elijah's bed, her hand resting on his arm. Even in sleep, she maintained the connection, as if afraid he might slip away if she let go. The sight triggered a memory so vivid it stole his breath. Celeste asleep against his chest in his first apartment, the box fan humming in the window, her fingers curled possessively against his skin. The security footage was grainy but unmistakable. Someone had accessed Elijah's medical files after hours. Not hospital staff, not Victor's people. As the figure turned toward the camera, Victor felt ice in his veins. He knew that face. The investor who'd forced him to choose between Celeste and success 2 decades ago was now tracking her son. What price would you pay to protect your reputation? Your empire? Your child you never knew existed? The comments section is open for your thoughts. The DNA test results lay unopened on Victor's desk like a ticking bomb. The truth that could heal his son or destroy the mother's trust forever. 3 days had passed since Victor recognized Sebastian Ward on the security footage. 3 days of increased security, expedited treatment for Elijah, and private DNA testing that required nothing more than retrieving a cup the boy had used. Now the results had arrived by private courier. The envelope sat on his desk, containing scientific confirmation of what Victor already knew in his soul. He tore it open. Paternal match, 99.8% probability. Victor released a breath he felt he'd been holding for 16 years. The relief was immediate, powerful, followed quickly by rage at the time stolen from him. Elijah was his son, his blood, his responsibility. A son he'd never fed, taught, protected. A son who now fought for his life against a disease that Victor's own genes might have helped create. He pressed the intercom. "Patricia, where is Nurse Johnson right now?" "Working, sir. Pediatric floor." And Elijah's condition? Dr. Mercer's latest report shows continued response to treatment, but he's still requesting compatible donor material. They're running more genetic tests today. Victor folded the DNA results into his pocket. He needed to tell Amara the truth, but first he needed to understand exactly why she'd hidden Elijah's existence. Why Celeste had kept his son a secret. Elijah's hospital room transformed as Victor's quiet orders manifested state-of-the-art equipment, specialist consultations, walls repainted his favorite blue. A father's power wielded anonymously for a son who didn't know him. He found Amara at the nurse's station, reviewing charts. The new scrubs fit her better than the faded ones she'd worn on arrival. Her hair was pulled back in a practical knot, highlighting cheekbones that echoed her mother's. "Ms. Johnson." A word. She followed him to a quiet consultation room, wariness in every step. "Elijah's responding well," she said immediately. "If this is about justifying the expense." "It's not." Victor gestured to a chair. "Please." She sat reluctantly, perched on the edge like a bird ready for flight. "I'm hosting a charity gala next weekend," he said, "for pediatric research, specifically focused on rare genetic conditions like Elijah's." Surprise replaced her wariness. "That's generous. I'd like you to help coordinate. Your perspective as both medical professional and parent would be valuable." "Me?" Skepticism colored her voice. "What?" "Because you understand what these families need, what the money should actually accomplish." She studied him, searching for the trap. "I'm not exactly experienced with galas. That's why you'll work directly with me. Starting tonight. Dinner, my office, 7 o'clock. We'll review the guest list, funding priorities." The invitation hung between them. She could refuse. Should refuse, given her obvious distrust. "All right," she finally said. 7 o'clock. Late-night planning session for charity gala. Amara and Victor working closely in his office. Tension building as they share takeout and personal stories. She arrived precisely at 7, hair loose around her shoulders, wearing simple slacks and a blouse instead of scrubs. The change was subtle but striking, a glimpse of the woman beneath the nurse's uniform. They worked through dinner, steakhouse containers open between hospital foundation reports. As the night progressed, professional distance gradually gave way to something more personal. "He has your laugh," Amara said suddenly, when the conversation turned to Elijah's improving spirits. Victor froze, chopsticks halfway to his mouth. "Pardon, Elijah." His laugh. "It's like yours. I noticed it yesterday when you were joking with him about the basketball game." The moment stretched between them, pregnant with unspoken truths. Victor opened the DNA results with trembling fingers, confirmation of what he already knew in his soul. 9% paternity match. But as he reached for his phone to finally tell Amara the truth, her text appeared. "Someone broke into my apartment. They took all of Celeste's old journals and photos. I am scared, Victor. I think someone knows what we've been hiding. Would you want to know the truth, even if it changed everything you believed about yourself? About your past?" Share your answer below. The same man who had torn them apart 20 years ago now threatened the son born from their forbidden love, a son fighting for his life while history prepared to repeat itself. Victor dispatched security to Amara's apartment immediately, then called her. "Are you safe? Is anyone still there?" "No, they're gone," she answered, voice tight with fear. But Victor, they knew exactly what they were looking for. Celeste's things were in a locked trunk under my bed. Nothing else was touched. "Don't touch anything else. My team is on the way. Pack a bag for you and Elijah. You're not staying there." "What? Where?" "My penthouse. It has security. You'll be safe there until we figure this out." Silence stretched across the line. "Amara, this isn't a request. Whoever broke in knows about Celeste, about you, possibly about Elijah. I can protect you. Why would you?" The question was direct, cutting through pretense. "Why do you care so much about my son's safety?" The moment for truth hovered between them, but Victor couldn't do this over the phone. "Just be ready when my team arrives. We'll talk at the penthouse." 90 minutes later, Victor watched Amara taken his home, 60 stories above Houston, walls of glass framing city lights like stars brought to earth. His penthouse offered panoramic views of a city that had always bowed to his influence. But as thunder rolled across the Houston skyline, Victor realized money couldn't control everything. Not disease, not time, not the reckoning he'd earned. "This place is bigger than my entire apartment building," Amara said, setting down her small overnight bag. "The guest rooms are through here." Victor guided her down hallway. 2 bedrooms, private bath. "You'll be comfortable." He opened the door to a spacious suite, decorated in soothing blues and grays. Amara stepped inside, then turned to face him, arms crossed. "Now tell me what's going on." "The truth, Victor. All of it." He could see Celeste in her stance, the unwavering demand for honesty. "The man who broke into your apartment is likely connected to Sebastian Ward, my first investor 20 years ago. The man who encouraged me to end things with Celeste. Encouraged, threatened to pull funding unless I broke ties with her. Called her inappropriate, a liability. The shame of his capitulation still burned. I chose my ambition over her. It's the worst decision I ever made." Amara's eyes narrowed. "And now he's what? Blackmailing you? Over a decades-old breakup?" "It's more complicated than that. Sebastian didn't just want us separated. He wanted Celeste gone completely. He sent men to pay her off, threaten her if necessary. I didn't know until later." Thunder crashed outside, lightning briefly illuminating Amara's face, shock giving way to something harder. "What are you telling me?" she demanded. Victor stepped closer, close enough to catch the faint scent of hospital antiseptic still clinging to her clothes. "Elijah. What about him?" "The timing, Amara. His age, his features, the genetic condition." Understanding dawned in her eyes, followed immediately by panic. She backed away. "No, you don't get to claim him now. Not after 16 years. Not after everything Celeste sacrificed." "I didn't know," Victor said quietly. "I swear to you, I didn't know she was pregnant." Amara's back hit the wall, nowhere left to retreat. "Stay away from him. Stay away from us." Victor didn't advance, respecting her space despite the urgency pounding through him. "I have proof, Amara. DNA confirmation. Elijah is my son." When Elijah's fever spiked at midnight, Victor carried him to the car himself, Amara clutching medical supplies beside him. As the elevator doors opened to the garage, a figure stepped from the shadows. Victor's former mentor and investor, Sebastian Ward. "You should have stayed away from Celeste's offspring," he said, voice cold as the gun in his hand. "Some bloodlines deserve to end. Have you ever been forced to trust someone you weren't sure deserved it? That moment when protection and suspicion battle within you? Tell me your experience." Bullets shattered the garage silence as Victor shielded his newfound family with his body. The empire he'd sacrificed, everything for suddenly worthless compared to the son he'd just discovered. Victor reacted on instinct, shoving Amara and Elijah behind a concrete pillar as the first shot echoed through the garage. Pain blazed across his shoulder, but adrenaline kept him moving. "Stay down," he ordered, positioning himself between them and Sebastian. Sebastian Ward hadn't aged well. Once commanding and aristocratic, he now looked brittle, skin pulled too tight across prominent bones. But the gun in his hand was steady, his eyes cold with purpose. "You disappoint me, Victor," Sebastian called. "All these years building something meaningful, only to risk it for Celeste bastard. What do you want, Sebastian?" Victor demanded, calculating distances to the exit, to his security team, who should have been here. "Want?" Sebastian laughed, the sound hollow against concrete walls. "I wanted you to stay away. I wanted that bloodline erased." His gun shifted, aiming toward the pillar where Elijah's ragged breathing echoed. "Some mistakes must be corrected." "He's a child," Victor said, edging to keep Sebastian's focus on him. "An innocent boy. No child of hers could be innocent." Sebastian's voice hardened. "You never knew what she was, who she came from." Victor caught Amara's eye, gesturing subtly toward the emergency exit behind them. She nodded, arm tight around Elijah's trembling shoulders. "Then enlighten me," Victor replied, voice raised to cover the sound of their movement. "What exactly was Celeste hiding?" Sebastian's laugh turned to a cough, violent enough to double him over. But the gun never wavered. "Ask your new house guest. Ask her why Celeste ran, why she kept changing her name." A distraction. Victor needed a distraction. His chance came when Sebastian's cough intensified. Victor lunged forward, tackling the older man as another shot rang out. Pain exploded through his side, hot and immediate. "Go," he shouted to Amara. "Get him out." Amara hesitated only a second before pulling Elijah toward the exit. Sebastian struggled beneath Victor, surprisingly strong despite his frail appearance. "You're bleeding out for them," Sebastian hissed. "For a woman who lied to you and a boy who shouldn't exist." Victor pressed his forearm against Sebastian's throat. "Why now? After all these years?" "Because I'm dying," Sebastian wheezed, "and I refuse to leave loose ends." Security finally arrived, surrounding them with drawn weapons. Sebastian went limp, the fight draining from him as quickly as it had erupted. "This isn't over," he promised as security pulled Victor off him. "Some truths can't be buried." Blood soaked through Victor's custom suit jacket. Not Elijah's, not Amara's, but his own, as hospital lights flashed overhead and security locked down the entrance behind them. The cost of protecting what mattered had finally come due. In the emergency treatment room, Amara insisted on checking Victor's wound herself, a graze across his shoulder, painful but not life-threatening. Her fingers were gentle against his skin as she cleaned the injury, professional training overcoming personal boundaries. "Why would I want to hurt Elijah?" Amara whispered, hands trembling as she applied pressure to Victor's wound. "Because," Victor replied, wincing, "Sebastian isn't just my old investor. He's your mother's father, Elijah's grandfather, and he spent 20 years making sure certain bloodlines don't continue." Shock widened Amara's eyes. "That's impossible. Celeste's father died before she was born. That's what she told you. That's what she told everyone." As doctors rushed Elijah into emergency treatment, Amara's phone lit up with an unknown number. The text contained only an image, a young Celeste in Sebastian's arms, followed by coordinates and 2 words that made her blood run cold: family reunion. What secrets would you risk everything to protect? What truths would you die to expose? The line between protection and possession is thin. Where do you draw yours? While their son fought for breath in a hospital bed, Victor and Amara faced the terrible truth. Celeste hadn't just been Victor's lover. She'd been the daughter of his business partner, a man who'd rather see his grandson die than acknowledge the bloodline. The private hospital suite became their war room, medical monitors providing a rhythmic backdrop to revelations that span generations. Old photographs spread across sterile sheets, connecting dots of betrayal that had begun before either of them was born. "This can't be real," Amara whispered, staring at the photo from the text message. Victor had printed it, along with others his investigator had uncovered overnight. Celeste never mentioned him, not once. Victor sat beside Elijah's bed, watching his son's chest rise and fall with medicated sleep. Sebastian had 2 families. His public one wife, 3 daughters, all properly introduced to society. And his private arrangements. Arrangements, Amara repeated, the word bitter on her tongue. You mean his mistresses? Yes. Celeste's mother was one of several. When she became pregnant, Sebastian paid her off, then erased all connections. It was his pattern. But how did you end up with him as an investor without knowing about Celeste? Victor's laugh held no humor. New Orleans is smaller than it pretends to be. But Sebastian moved between worlds. The Sebastian who evaluated my business plan wore custom suits and spoke about family legacy. The man who visited jazz clubs and kept apartments for young singers was someone else entirely. So, when you began dating Celeste, I had no idea she was connected to him. And when Sebastian discovered I was seeing her, he made you choose, Amara finished. Your dream or her. Yes, the admission carried 2 decades of regret. But I never knew she was pregnant. Never knew about Elijah. Amara moved to her son's bedside, brushing hair from his forehead. She was protecting him from Sebastian. And for me, Victor added quietly. She must have thought I'd reject them both. The monitor tracking Elijah's heart rate beeped steadily, each pulse a reminder of what hung in the balance. Sebastian's dying, Victor continued. His text mentioned family reunion. I think he's trying to eliminate loose ends before he goes. Evidence of his double life, including his own grandson. Amara's voice broke. What kind of monster? The kind who built his reputation on appearance. The kind who would sacrifice anything to maintain it. They fell silent, the weight of generational secrets pressing down on them. Victor watched Amara tend to Elijah, her movements both professional and achingly maternal. When she reached across the bed to adjust his fore, her hand briefly brushed Victor's, an electric connection neither acknowledged but both felt. As dawn broke over Houston, Amara made a decision that terrified her. Reaching for Victor's hand across Elijah's sleeping form. I need to tell you something I've never told anyone, she whispered. Celeste didn't die from illness like I claimed. She was murdered. And I've spent 16 years making sure no one discovered why. Family legacies can heal or poison across generations. Has your family history shaped your present in ways you never expected? Share your story below. The music box Celeste left behind wasn't just a melody. It was a coded confession that could destroy Sebastian's empire and save their son, if they could decipher it before the last notes played. Murder. Victor's voice remained steady despite the bomb Amara had just dropped. Tell me everything. Amara's fingers tightened around his, as if drawing strength from the connection. 3 years ago, Celeste started receiving letters. Old photos of her with Sebastian. Proof of their relationship. Someone was threatening to expose her parentage. Blackmail. At first, she paid what she could. Then the demands changed. They wanted information about Sebastian's business dealings, his properties, his offshore accounts. Victor's mind raced. Sebastian made enemies. People who'd use any leverage. She refused. Amara continued. Said some lines couldn't be crossed, even for him. A week later, her brakes failed on the highway. The police called it an accident. The monitor tracking Elijah's vital signs beeped steadily. The rhythm a counterpoint to the chaos unfolding around him. But you knew better, Victor prompted. Celeste was careful, paranoid even. She checked her car religiously. And the night before, she gave me this. Amara reached into her pocket, pulling out a small, ornate key. Said if anything happened, I needed to keep it safe until Elijah was grown. A key to what? A music box. One I've never been able to open. Hours later, after ensuring Elijah was stable with round-the-clock security, they drove to Baton Rouge in tense silence. Victor's security team swept the perimeter of Celeste's apartment building before giving the all-clear. Celeste's weathered apartment remained frozen in time. Jazz records still alphabetized, piano dust-covered but tuned, walls lined with music sheets that might contain more than melodies. Each corner held memories Victor had abandoned and Amara had preserved. I kept paying the rent, Amara explained, moving through the space with practiced familiarity. Couldn't bear to clear it out. Victor studied photographs on the wall. Celeste with baby Elijah. Celeste with a teenage Amara, moments of a life he'd never witnessed. The ache of lost time settled in his chest, heavy as stone. "The music box?" he prompted. Amara knelt before an old, upright piano, reaching beneath it to detach something taped to its underside. The box that emerged was antique mahogany, inlaid with mother-of-pearl. "I've tried every way to open it," she said, placing it on the piano bench between them. "The key fits, but won't turn." Victor examined the craftsmanship, noting details with a developer's eye. "It's modified. See these seams? Not original." He turned it in his hands. "There's a trick to it." Their shoulders touched as they hunched over the box, the proximity sending awareness skittering across Victor's skin. He caught the faint scent of her shampoo, felt the warmth radiating from her body in the close quarters of the apartment. "Try pressing here while turning the key," he suggested, guiding her fingers to a nearly invisible depression in the wood. The mechanism clicked, the lid springing open as a haunting melody filled the room. The same song Amara had been singing to Elijah in the hospital. Inside lay a flash drive and a folded note in Celeste's handwriting. "For my son, when the truth becomes his protection rather than his danger." The intimacy of the moment, of touching something Celeste had touched, of hearing music she had cherished, created a bridge between past and present, between the woman Victor had loved and the son he'd just discovered. Hidden behind the false bottom of Celeste's jewelry box, they found it, the flash drive she'd died protecting. But as Victor plugged it into his laptop, security alerts blared from his phone. Sebastian's men had found Elijah's hospital room, and the experimental treatment keeping him alive had been disconnected. What would you risk to right a wrong from your past? Would you face your greatest mistake if it meant saving someone innocent? Your thoughts matter. Share them below. With their son's life hanging by threads of technology and medicine, Amara and Victor made a devil's bargain. She would confront the man who killed her mother while he used the evidence to save their child. "Go," Amara urged, already grabbing her coat. "I'll handle the flash drive." Victor hesitated, torn between the two critical tasks. Sebastian's men won't stop. They know what Celeste had on him. "And our son is dying," Amara countered, the words "our son" hanging between them. The first acknowledgement of their shared connection to Elijah. "You have the resources to protect him. I'll extract the evidence." The decision crystallized in seconds. Victor pressed his private helicopter keys into her palm. "My pilot is on standby. The password to access the files is on this card. Once you have the evidence, call this number. My legal team will be waiting." Their eyes locked, years of separation and secrets dissolving in the face of shared purpose. Without thinking, Victor pulled Amara into a desperate kiss, brief but electric, laden with unspoken promises. "If anything happens to you," Victor started, voice breaking. Amara pressed fingers to his lips. "Then you be the parent I know you can be. You be everything to him that time stole from us." The helicopter cut through storm clouds, city lights below blurring like the boundaries between Victor's worlds. The corporate titan and the desperate father now one and the same. Phone pressed to ear as he mobilized resources no ordinary parent could command. "I want Sebastian Ward's access to Houston Memorial revoked immediately." He ordered his head of security. "Lock down the pediatric wing. No one enters without biometric confirmation." "Sir, Mr. Ward is on the hospital board." "Not anymore. Effective immediately. He's persona non grata. Anyone who let his men near my son is fired." "My son." The words felt both foreign and completely natural. Victor arrived to find the hospital in controlled chaos. Security guards at every entrance, medical staff huddled in concerned groups, police taking statements from rattled nurses. "What happened?" he demanded, finding Dr. Mercer outside Elijah's room. Two men with hospital credentials disconnected Elijah's treatment protocol and attempted to access his central line. A nurse walked in before they could inject something. They fled when security responded. Cold fury washed through Victor. "And Elijah? Stable. We reconnected everything in time." "But Mr. Hale, this was attempted murder." Inside the room, Elijah lay pale against white sheets, additional security positioned at his door. His eyes fluttered open as Victor approached. "Hey, kiddo," Victor said gently, the endearment surprising them both. "They were trying to kill me," Elijah stated with eerie calm. "Why would someone want me dead?" The directness. So like Victor's own approach to problems, caught him off guard. This boy, this stranger who carried his blood, deserved truth. Because of who you are, who your grandfather is. Elijah's eyes, Victor's eyes, widened slightly. "Mom never told me about my family. Said it was complicated." "It is." Victor pulled a chair close to the bed. "But you deserve to know." As Victor explained about Sebastian, about Celeste, about the past that had led to this moment, he watched understanding dawn in his son's face, followed by the determined expression he recognized from his own mirror. As Amara stepped into Sebastian's hotel suite, she activated the recording device hidden in her mother's locket. "I've brought what you wanted," she said, heart pounding. Sebastian smiled coldly. "No, my dear, you brought who I wanted. You're so like your mother, thinking you're the player when you're merely the piece." The door locked behind her with an ominous click. When faced with impossible choices, do we become our truest selves or someone we never recognized? What would you sacrifice for those you love? Share your thoughts. Sebastian didn't want money or silence. He wanted his grandson's blood, the rare genetic marker that could save his own life while erasing the evidence of his greatest shame. "You look confused, my dear," Sebastian said, settling into a leather armchair with the stiff movements of a man in pain. "Did you think this was about money? About reputation?" Amara remained standing, Celeste's flash drive secure in her pocket. "Why try to kill your own grandson?" Sebastian's presidential suite reflected the man, coldly elegant, strategically positioned for dominance. Windows overlooking his competing hotels as if keeping enemies within sight. But his hands, clutching a crystal tumbler, betrayed the tremors of mortality no wealth could bribe. "Kill him? No, I need him alive for now." Sebastian sipped amber liquid, grimacing. "The boy and I share a unique genetic profile, quite rare. The difference is his manifested as lymphohistiocytosis. Mine is leukemia." Understanding dawned with sickening clarity. "You need his bone marrow." "Very good. The doctors call it a perfect match. 1 in millions." Pride flickered across Sebastian's face, a grotesque parody of grandfatherly emotion. "My only compatible donor, discovered when my investigators flagged his medical records." "You're dying." "Yes, unless I get what I need from the boy." Amara's mind raced. The experimental treatment at Houston Memorial, a convenient way to prepare him. The protocols aligned perfectly with harvesting procedures. Sebastian's smile never reached his eyes. "Once complete, all evidence of my indiscretion disappears. Clean, efficient evidence. He's a child, not evidence. He's the living proof of my greatest mistake. Celeste should have terminated when I paid her to. Instead, she kept the pregnancy, kept you, kept evidence that could destroy everything I built." Amara's confusion must have shown on her face because Sebastian laughed, a dry, rattling sound. "Oh, this is delicious. You don't know, do you?" He leaned forward. "Celeste wasn't just protecting her son. She was protecting you from the truth." At Houston Memorial, Victor's phone buzzed with an incoming file, the decrypted contents of Celeste's flash drive. Financial records, property deeds, offshore accounts, and photographs documenting decades of Sebastian Ward's double life. But the most damning evidence was medical, DNA comparisons, hospital records, birth certificates with falsified information. The pattern was clear. Sebastian had systematically preyed on young women, then buried the consequences. "I've sent everything to the FBI," Victor told Elijah, who watched from his hospital bed with unnerving composure. "Sebastian won't hurt you again." "What about Mom? He still has her." Victor squeezed his son's hand. "I'm handling that too." The board meeting was hastily convened, directors shifting uncomfortably as Victor laid out the evidence against their chairman. "Sebastian Ward is hereby removed from all positions within Hale Industries and Houston Memorial Hospital," Victor announced. "His medical privileges are revoked effective immediately." "On what grounds?" demanded a longtime Sebastian ally. Victor slid copies of the evidence across the table. fraud, blackmail, and the attempted murder of my son. The last words silenced the room. Yes, gentlemen, my son, whom Sebastian attempted to use as an unwilling donor to save himself. Victor burst through the hotel suite door with police following, only to find Sebastian slumped in his chair, Amara nowhere in sight, and a bloody trail leading to the balcony 16 floors above Houston's unforgiving streets. What makes family, blood, or choice? Would you claim a child from your past if discovering them meant losing everything you built? Your perspective matters to this conversation. She dangled from the balcony railing, fingers slipping as Sebastian's security closed in, 16 floors above concrete, with only Victor's voice in the darkness below calling her home. Amara. Victor's shout carried up from the street, where police lights created pools of red and blue against rain-slicked asphalt. She couldn't answer. Every ounce of strength focused on maintaining her grip on the rain-soaked metal railing. After Sebastian's revelation, after what he'd shown her about her own past, she'd try to flee. His security had cornered her on the balcony. Choose, they told her. Jump or be pushed. Rain made the metal railing slick beneath her grip, each thundercrack illuminating the dizzying drop to the street below, where police lights created pools of red and blue. So close to safety, yet separated by an expanse no mother's determination could conquer alone. The suite door crashed open behind her. Gunshots, shouting, then Victor's voice, closer now. Amara, hold on. Strong hands gripped her wrists just as her fingers gave way. The security guard who'd been advancing on her now lay unconscious, Victor and 2 police officers pulling her back over the railing to safety. She collapsed against Victor's chest, entire body trembling. Sebastian, arrested. It's over. But it wasn't. Not after what Sebastian had revealed. Hours later, back at Houston Memorial, they sat in a private consultation room while Elijah underwent tests to confirm his recovery from the treatment disruption. Sebastian showed me proof, Amara said hollowly. DNA tests, birth records. Victor waited, giving her space to process. Celeste wasn't my mother, she finally managed. She was my sister. The revelation hung between them, reshaping everything they thought they knew. Sebastian, he's my father too. He had a relationship with my mother, our mother. When she died giving birth to me, Celeste took me and ran. Amara's voice broke. She was 18. She raised me as her daughter to protect me from him. Victor took her hands, steadying their trembling. That's why she kept changing cities, changing names, and why she never told anyone about Elijah's father. One connection to Sebastian was dangerous enough. The doctor's expression was grave as she approached them in the waiting room. The treatment protocol is working, but we've hit a complication. Elijah needs an immediate transfusion from both genetic parents to stabilize the therapy. Her eyes moved between them. Mr. Hale, Ms. Johnson, your compatibility results show something impossible. You share genetic markers typically only found in siblings. They stared at the doctor, then at each other, the final piece falling into place with devastating clarity. Half-siblings, Victor said quietly. Sebastian is my father too. Amara finished, the horror of it washing through her. And Elijah's grandfather twice over. The implications crashed down. Why Sebastian had forced them apart 20 years ago. Why he'd been so desperate to erase Elijah's existence. Their son wasn't just evidence of Sebastian's double life. He was living proof of a genetic line Sebastian had tried to keep separated at all costs. Have you ever found strength you didn't know you possessed when someone you loved was in danger? That moment when fear transforms into something powerful. Share your experience. The truth was more twisted than any lie. Amara wasn't Celeste's daughter, but her sister, raised as her own to hide Sebastian's most depraved secret, a father who preyed on both his daughters. Old photographs scattered across the hospital consultation room told a story rewritten by DNA, faces that shared features suddenly revealing darker connections, family trees twisted into shapes no child should navigate, truths that rewrote not just history, but identity itself. My whole life has been a fabrication, Amara whispered, staring at the genetic results. Everything I thought I knew about myself, about Celeste. Victor kept his distance, giving her space to process the revelation that had transformed their relationship from romantic potential to something forbidden. She protected you, he said gently. From Sebastian, from a truth. By lying to me my entire life, anger flashed through her grief. By letting me fall for her, she stopped, the unspoken truth hanging between them. They'd been drawn to each other from the first moment in the hospital lobby. The attraction, the connection, all now tainted by the knowledge they shared father. Celeste made the best choice she could, Victor said. She was barely an adult herself, raising an infant, running from a powerful man. And then I fell in love with you. The admission tumbled out, raw and painful. Her worst fear realized, the very thing she separated us to prevent. The acknowledgement of their feelings, now impossible to act upon, filled the room with unspoken grief for what might have been. We focus on Elijah now, Victor said firmly. He's what matters. The genetic counselor returned with more test results, expression carefully neutral. We've confirmed Sebastian Ward is indeed the biological father of both of you. However, we've discovered something unusual about Elijah's condition. They leaned forward, momentarily united by parental concern. The genetic mutation causing his lymphohistiocytosis isn't from the shared Ward lineage. It's a separate, rare variant that occurs when two distinct genetic markers combine. She pointed to the results. One from Mr. Hale's maternal line, one from Ms. Johnson's maternal line, completely unrelated to Sebastian Ward. What does that mean for his treatment? Amara asked. It means the blood transfusion from both of you will work. You're both still his biological parents. And it means Sebastian's claim of needing Elijah as a donor was fabricated. Their genetic markers for blood diseases are entirely different. Relief washed through them. One small mercy in the wreckage of revelations. She saved you, Victor realized, voice breaking. Celeste didn't just hide Elijah from me. She hid you both from him. Every move, every sacrifice was to break the cycle. Amara nodded, tears finally spilling. And now we have to save her son. The transfusion procedure was simple but emotionally complex. Victor and Amara in adjacent beds, blood flowing from their veins into processors that would extract the components Elijah needed. I kept looking for her in you, Victor admitted quietly. From that first moment in the lobby, I thought that's why I felt such an immediate connection. And now I understand. It was recognition on a level I couldn't identify. The familiarity of shared blood. Their eyes met across the medical equipment, separating them. A new understanding forming. Not the relationship they might have wanted, but something equally powerful. Co-parents, half-siblings, allies in protecting the boy who connected them. As Elijah's condition stabilized following their transfusion, Victor knelt beside Amara's chair, taking her hands in his. I lost one chance at family because I chose ambition, he said, voice steady despite his trembling hands. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking. The hospital room door burst open as federal agents entered. Victor Hale, we need you to come with us. Sebastian Ward is dead, and you're named in his suicide note. How would you rebuild your identity after discovering your entire history was constructed to protect you? Would you embrace the painful truth or cling to the comforting fiction? Your thoughts below. The empire Victor built to replace love now threatened to fall. But as he faced losing everything to Sebastian's final revenge, he discovered the difference between a legacy of buildings and a legacy of blood. Sebastian's suicide note was his final act of cruelty, a carefully crafted document accusing Victor of blackmail, coercion, and threats spanning decades. The evidence Celeste had gathered became Victor's salvation, proving Sebastian's allegations false and exposing the true extent of his crimes. 3 months of legal battles, media scrutiny, and corporate power struggles followed. Victor weathered it all with a single focus, protecting Elijah and Amara from both public exposure and Sebastian's remaining allies. When the dust settled, Victor's empire remained intact but transformed. his priorities permanently altered by the discovery of his son and the truth of his connection to Amara. 6 months later, the New Orleans Jazz Club's renovation gleamed under vintage lights. Not as another soulless luxury venue in Victor's portfolio, but as a living memorial where Celeste's recordings played nightly and young musicians found the support she'd been denied. She would have loved this, Amara said, watching Elijah adjust microphones on the club's small stage. At 16, nearly 17 now, his recovery had been remarkable, both physically and emotionally. Learning the truth about his family had been difficult, but knowing had given him a foundation to build upon. The Celeste Moore Foundation for Young Musicians. Victor read from the brass plaque beside the entrance. Supporting talent regardless of background. The anti-Sebastian. Amara smiled, the joke possible now that time had softened some edges of their trauma. They had found a new balance. Not the romantic relationship that had briefly flickered between them, but something equally meaningful. Co-parents. Family bound by blood and choice. Victor had moved them into a spacious home near the hospital where Amara now directed pediatric nursing services. They maintained separate living spaces but shared meals, decisions about Elijah, and the ongoing process of healing. I gave my statement to the biography writer today, Victor said. The full truth about Sebastian, about Celeste, about us. Amara nodded, understanding the significance. After decades of secrecy, bringing the complete story into the light was their final act of defiance against Sebastian's legacy of silence and shame. Elijah asked if he could change his name, she said, to hail more, to honor both sides of his heritage. Pride and grief mingled in Victor's chest. What did you tell him? That his name is his to choose, that he gets to write his own story. The club filled with guests for the grand opening. Musicians Celeste had worked with, children who would benefit from the foundation scholarships, hospital staff who had helped save Elijah's life. As Elijah took the stage, nervousness evident but determination stronger, Victor and Amara watched from the wings. 3 lives Sebastian had tried to erase, now creating harmony from discord, proving that while blood might determine genetics, love determines legacy. And some legacies refuse to be buried, no matter how deep the foundation. I don't want to just be Elijah's father, Victor said, fingers intertwining with hers in the familial touch they'd grown comfortable with. I want to build something with you, not hotels or hospitals, but a future. One where we both choose each other, eyes open, no secrets between us. We already are, Amara replied, squeezing his hand as Elijah began to play his mother's melody on the club's grand piano. Family, the real kind, as the notes filled the room. The same melody that had once been a private love song between Victor and Celeste, now transformed into a public celebration of survival. They stood together in the space between past and future, between what was lost and what had been found. Some say we can never outrun our past, while others believe we can transform it into something healing. Which do you believe? Has your past shaped you or defined you? This story might be ending, but yours continues. Share where you are in your journey.